today is the day. Come here real quick. I have my sister actually recording me. This is the engine block. Finally got it back. We have new cam bearings. Get in there, please. New cam bearings. And we also hone the engine. So it has that nice cross hatching, if you can see. Today's the day. I get to remove the cam, remove the heads, and pretty much strip this whole motor down. And then from there, I'm going to basically just put everything back on this motor and we're good to go, we're good to roll. But it's gonna be a long, extensive process. I still have to gap the piston rings, and I also have to make sure the clearances are right on the bottom end of this motor. I'll turn it around real fast. So I have to make sure that the crank matches up really well. I take these out, put new ones in, and put the crank, which crank is right here. Put it in, make sure the cap's on, make sure the clearances are good, and then from there I can go and move into my pistons. And of course, like I said, I have to clean them. I have to do a whole lot of different things with them. As you can see, I cleaned a little bit of it like that. It's still kind of dirty, still got a little bit of carbon deposit on top, but it's all good. As long as I take out these bearings, clean this up in the inside, clean this up in the inside a little bit, and take off these rings, we're good to go. And that's pretty much it for the intro. Whew. All right, it is smoking hot. I didn't rig the fan out here. Anyway, smoking hot. I have taken off the rockers, valve cover, and the rods. As you can see, trick flow rods. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I didn't know he actually had trick flow rods. And now I'm at a point of, all right, I can get the cam out from this motor and I can put it in this one. But right now, the reason why I stopped everything and started to filming is because I'm actually cleaning this out. This is an oil galley that goes to the main bearings, and it also goes to the cam bearings through this hole right here. You can see it, this one right there. So I'm just, taking this brush, this little wire brush, and cleaning that out, making sure that I can actually get some good clearances in the oil. As you can see, it's not super dirty, but it does have some dirt on it. So that means these had some kind of dirt or clog in them a little bit, and it's good just to go ahead and clean them out before the motor is fully put back together, because then you'll have clean oil galleys. And that is like the key to all of this, is just making sure that all of this stuff is clean as much as possible. And as you're doing that, pretty much it just makes it a whole lot easier, especially with running for the first time on a rebuilt motor. It will be like it's brand new, of course. Pretty standard stuff, you know what I mean? The main thing that I got out of it is just always keep your area clean. Make sure that you know where things are at, and then you're good to go. And basically, that's what I'm doing here. I got my valve covers, rockers, and the rods here. I'm gonna put the heads here, and I'm gonna start installing the cam in just a few moments here. And we're just gonna let it go, let it loose, and we're just gonna have fun with it. Let's see what's gonna happen. All right, so I'm at the point now where I'm installing main bearings. All right, so for the main bearings, this is the main thrust bearing right here. That's what it looks like. It looks like a wedge bridge, I guess. These are the most important. They regulate the thrust, which meaning in the engine, come look this way, because I got a new one in here. So it's right here in the middle. It regulates how, what is it called? The crankshaft moves back and forth in play. So this helps this out. That's why it has these like huge ridges. It helps with the in play on the crankshaft. as you can see. And then to tell from my understanding, just say, like I said, my understanding, make sure that you, whenever you put in main bearings, the ones that have the oil holes, which they look like this kind of, I don't know if you can see those holes. Make sure those oil holes match up with the block, because they're going to be your oil galley holes that get oil to the crankshaft and to the cam, because these go to the cam as well. And as you can see, I got all of them in there. My next move right now is to basically measure the crankshaft play, which I forgot to get the little green sticks. There's little green sticks that I have to use once I put the crank on, put the other bearings on, crank it down, torque spec, and then take it back off to make sure that it's in the right spec. Then I can torque it back down again, and then my crank is fully seated into the block. And then from there, it's just piecing everything back together really easily. The only hard part after this will be my piston ring gap, and that's gonna take a while, but I'm gonna try my best to do as many as I can today. It's only 12 o'clock and I've gotten this far, so in an hour I already took out the cam, laid everything out, cleaned everything up. Now I have to do the crank. Crank should take about 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. I have no clue. We're gonna see how it works, how fast I can do it. I'm gonna take my time a little bit, just for the simple fact I do have to measure. So once I don't measure, quickly do it. And yeah, from there, it is what it is. And hopefully I wanna get to a point where I have the timing on. That will be the goal for today, to have the timing on. If not, then I will just continue on with the pistons. The pistons are the second main thing I need to do. Once I'm done with this crank, I'm gonna take these off, just for the simple fact that I need to get this compressor off right here, so I can also get this bolt out of this head, so I can put a new bolt, because that one's stripped. And it's not stripped because of me. The guy that put it in before me kind of stripped it out. He torqued it till he stripped it, and he was like, set it and forget it. And I'm like, see, we're not forgetting here. We got to deal with it. So that's okay though. It's all fine. It's nothing crazy. I'm gonna take this head to a local shop I know to get it out, because I personally do not want to do it. I don't want to mess up the head. And I don't have the proper equipment for that. The goal for today is to get the crank installed, get timing. Well, I can't get timing. I have to try my best to get the piston ring gap, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and put in the pistons, put the timing covers on, and then wrap it up by taking these heads off, putting one of the heads on to one side, and we should be good from there. Or probably not even gonna put the head on it. I'm just gonna wait until the other one comes back. So that's a little checkpoint for you guys. This is where I'm at now. I have the crank in, I have the cam in, I have some of the lifters in, and that's pretty much it. My stopping point here was, sorry for the mess, it's organized in my mind, but it looks messy on this table, but I gotta clean up in just a few minutes, so that's why I'm recording. But these piston rings with these new ones, they're just not big enough. And what I mean by that, like, as I put this into the cylinder bore, you can definitely tell that this just goes through, it just falls through. That's not what you want. You do not want you don't want the piston rings to be a small circumference, because if it's a small circumference, Well, not really a circumference because it's got a gap, but anyway, in math terms, if the circumference of the ring is not compressible or expandable, then we're not gonna have any compression once we fire the engine. All of the gas, air fuel mixture, spark will go straight down into the crankcase. We don't want that. So that's kind of like a little bummer here. I was like literally getting it out today. Just like, hey, I'm gonna be on this today, tomorrow, and I was hopefully gonna have the car running by Friday. Today is Wednesday. Have the car running by Friday, but looks like that's not gonna happen, which is totally fine. I'm not on a real strict time limit, but I have a time limit for myself, and I want it to be done by Friday. Tomorrow we might see if I can be done by Friday. If we get lucky and find some piston rings that fit and that will be on it and do this thing really quickly, because we gotta just find some more. That's all it is at this point. It's just not a big deal. We'll return these, go get some more, and from there I finish up doing finish up cleaning the pistons, cleaning one of them, which is this one. It's not super duper clean, but I'm gonna be honest, this is as clean as I can get it for whatever setup I have right now. You know what I mean? Like, as you can see, I'm in a whole bunch of other stuff that has other space, so I have to do what I gotta do. I don't have like high-tech tools either to make these super clean. I don't have no dip tank. I don't have any of that. I wish I did. It would be nice, but it's whatever. You got to do what you got to do with what you have, and that makes it all the better anyway, because once this is complete, I know for sure I'm going to be ecstatic about it. The sound of the motor, the way it runs and everything, it's going to be super smooth. And I know that for a fact because I've done the clearance checks, I've done the torque specs, I did what I was supposed to do with this thing, and I know this is going to be a hearty motor. And the next thing I want to make sure that I do once I have the pistons, the piston rings, is I want to make sure that I gap them to probably like 0.025 thousandths over, yeah, 0.25 thousandths over. Because eventually, I don't know how this is gonna go down, but there's a high possibility that this motor eventually will get supercharged, turbocharged. I'm not really sure which one it will be, but I have a great feeling that it will happen someday. Don't know when, but I want to be prepared for it before that even happens, so I don't have to strip down the motor again to make sure that it can take the boost. With 25 thousandths over, it's enough ring gap for more air, more compression basically, and it will have more room to grow. Better seal, there we go. It will be a better seal, and then from there I can make sure that I don't have any crazy knocking or anything like that, just because I'm putting in a NA motor and then have a supercharger on it. Anyway, that's in the future. We're not worried about that, but that is the plan for these piston rings. We're gonna make sure that gap to spec where it's good for NA and also for something that is gonna be boosted later on. And that sweet mark, from what I've done in research, it is 25 thousandths over in the gap range, and you don't have to do it. You can do whatever you want to do. There's different specs and stuff that everybody can do, but that's what I'm gonna do here, so you don't have to follow exactly what I did. It's just all up to you. I'm just gonna make this where it's still good, naturally aspirated, and also where it'll be super good turbo or supercharged, either or, doesn't matter. But yeah, like I said, pretty much done here. For it's pretty far. I'm very ecstatic. This turns with my hand, so that makes me super excited. When I first actually did it, it spun really freely. Of course, it spun to the point where it was like, best way to describe it is that I had it where I could push it one finger. I can still do that now. I can, but it's a small little smidget of resistance. I'm very meticulous about it right now because when I've seen everyone else do it, their stuff is like really free flowing and stuff like that.
You see, somehow the world's gonna thanks for me and get so wonderful.